Number two, one of the repercussions is the fact that divorce rates will steeply increase. Think about it. If marriage is diminished to emotional happiness, if our marriages were simply based on our emotions, there's not a marriage in this room that would survive. Let's be honest. There's not a marriage that would survive. Divorce rates are going to skyrocket. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more because that's going to be terrible for society. But thirdly, I want to add this in. Adultery rates will skyrocket. Now hear me. What's currently being proposed for the Supreme Court of our United States of America is a definition of marriage that will encourage adultery. Adultery is now being advised. In fact, it's being celebrated. Let me give you an example. There's a man named Dan Savage. If you don't know him, you're going to probably hear about him a lot in the days to come. He is one of the leading proponents out there right now in this movement. He's a sex advice columnist, I think up in Seattle. He's the founder of a website called It Gets Better that's intended to reach out to gay youth because and to keep them from committing suicide is what he's doing. Because you would be shocked at the suicide rate among gay youth. It's destroying their life. And they're committing suicide. It's an astronomical rate. So now even the gay community is developing programs trying to reach out to these kids and have them not kill themselves. Dan Savage is such a man. Dan Savage, he encourages homosexuality even though he sees what it's doing to people. And then he goes even further and he says the following, and I quote, he says, spouses ought to adopt a more flexible attitude about sex outside of marriage. He says it is essential to a long-lasting emotional union with your spouse. Did you hear me? It's encouraged. It's advised. It's actually now considered good and right and helpful. And you say, now, Pastor, are you just trying to say things to scare us, just to say things to alarm us? Are you overstating the case? Where are you coming up with all this? Are you just making it up? The answer is no, not at all. I'd never do that. In fact, we have the capacity in this world right now to have very real data done on what the homosexual and same-sex marriage movement is doing to people, because we can go to countries like the Netherlands and see what it's done to them. Do you know that the Netherlands were the first country in the world to legalize same-sex marriage, and they did it in the month of April 2001. Over a decade ago. So there's now surveys and hard data and research that's being done in the Netherlands that tell us exactly what's going to happen in our country if it comes here. In fact, a study in the Netherlands showed, now watch this, that homosexual men with a steady partner, the ones who are going steady, the ones who get married to one another, still have an average of 8 sexual partners per year. The whole movement is designed to have open marriages, to encourage adultery. And I'm telling you, if we as a society affirm these practices, all marriages will be put in danger. Because what we're doing at that point is we're saying adultery is good. And folks, you don't need a whole lot of excuses for men to commit adultery. You really don't. And I could add women to that as well. There's already great temptation inside the heart of us all. And if we have society then giving it a green stamp of approval, we're going to see these rates go through the school. You see, family stability does not happen by chance. It requires a strong marriage culture. Everybody knows that. To have strong marriages, you have to be in a culture of strong marriages. That's why at church, it's the best place to be with your family. Bring your husband, bring your wife, bring your children. Be a part of a community of faith. Be a part of a Christian church that supports and strengthens and encourages the family. It's your best bet for your family being healthy. And so as we look at these lists of repercussions, let me add another one. And that is this. If the definitions are changed, you can be sure that there will be an increase in the demands for the legalization of polygamy. Again, this redefinition movement is not just about homosexuality or gay rights. It's about the definition of marriage. And polygamists are pushing this thing as hard as every year. Polygamy is before our courts in America. You might be shocked to know that that we know of, over 150,000 polygamists in America alone. 150,000 that are open about it. They're open about it, mostly among Mormons and Muslims. But polygamy will become the law of the land as soon as you change the definition of marriage. In fact, to not let polygamists get married would become the new form of bigotry, you see. These would be the repercussions.